merchant once had to traverse through a jungle on his own while carrying certain goods. 3 robbers ambushed him and seized all that he owned. "Let's kill him," said the first thief. "Why commit the sin of killing him?" the second thief said. "Let's securely fasten him to a tree." They took the second robber's suggestion, left him to his destiny, and left. After a while, the third robber reappeared, released the man from his chains, and led him to the edge of the woodland along a road that led to the distantly visible city. The merchant expressed his gratitude to the thief for his generosity and humbly requested that he come with him so that he could properly compensate him when they got home. However, the third robber said, "I cannot come with you to the city, as I will be recognized as a robber by the police." The Tam, Raja, and Sattva Gunas, the 3 robbers, represent the 3 facets of human nature. Tam Guna was the first robber to act impulsively. Rajas, the second thief, displayed the trait of being dependent on the pleasures of the sensory world. Sattva, the third thief, displayed the virtues of kindness and compassion. Each guna or facet of reality has a unique psychological, energetic, and emotional impact on us. The outer world is made up of these gunas, which are continually interacting with one another. They are ever present, and both tangible and intangible things contain them to some extent. Gunas are not merely restricted to human nature and can be understood broadly. The word guna in Sanskrit means quality or attribute when seen in a literal sense. In a general understanding of the term, guna may refer to the fundamental characteristic that defines an entity. Guna is the fluidity of water, the hotness of fire, the whiteness of milk, and the sweetness of honey. It is the personality or attitude of a person that defines their personhood. A person may be kind, aggressive, punctual, lethargic, truthful, or have many other traits that are said to be qualities of that person. Hence, the concept of gunas as an attribute of a thing entails that it is dependent on the object and defines its essence. As they describe reality, they form the fundamental building blocks of the universe, the material world, and the human personality. The gunas determining the different aspects of life, creation, relationships, and knowledge have been well explored in ancient philosophical texts. Broadly, they can be seen in the cosmic aspect as a part of personality, in the societal aspect, and from a rational scientific point of view. All things in the cosmos exist in duality, the masculine and feminine, the yin and the yang, the mind and the body. The Sankhya school of Indian philosophy visualizes this duality in the form of Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha represents the conscious but passive aspect of reality, whereas Prakriti represents the unconscious but creative aspect. It is the power that gives birth to everything. Gunas are the constituents of this Prakriti. They can be classified into 3 types: Sattva, Raja, and Tama. The Sattva Guna is goodness, bliss, and enlightenment. It is buoyant, bright, and illuminating. The Raja Guna is the principle of motion and energy. It is restlessness, desire, activity, effort, and pain. Tamaguna consists of darkness, apathy, indifference, ignorance, and lethargy. It is the quality of heaviness, negativity, confusion, and passivity. In Prakriti, all 3 gunas are present in harmonious balance. When Prakriti, the feminine, comes into contact with Purusha, the masculine, the equilibrium of the gunas within Prakriti is disturbed. The Raja Guna begins to dominate, compelling other gunas to engage in activity as well. As a result, material products start evolving out of Prakriti and creation occurs. Each product of creation contains all 3 gunas, Sat, Raj, and Tam, although in different proportions, resulting in the diversity of the phenomenal world. The plants, animals, elements of nature, and even human beings show a diversity in characteristics corresponding to different combinations of the 3 gunas. Every phenomenon contains a predominant guna as well as a smaller dose of the other 2 gunas. That is why, for instance, anger can be transformed into compassion because the Rajas state of anger contains some sattva, the predominant guna of compassion. Besides the cosmic explanation given by Samkhyan philosophy, gunas have a practical use. They can be said to influence our daily lives through personal development, understanding relationships and psychology, cultivating habits, and managing our desires. The Bhagavad Gita explains the types of personalities due to the gunas and how one should manage them. Gunas not only differentiate between different characters of people, they also vary in a person throughout their life and even within a day. Imagine waking up early in the morning. Some people may be very energetic and remain motivated throughout the day, while others may find it difficult to make it out of bed. There is a dominance of Rajaguna in the former and Tamaguna in the latter. A Sattvaguna person wakes up, feels at peace, and remains grateful for the day. She neither has the mindset of winning the world, nor is she a nihilist. The mindset of a person may change the next minute, with time, through different phases of life, or after acquiring new knowledge. The three gunas together shape the personality of a human being. The Bhagavad Gita recognizes the diversity in personality, but at the same time gives a higher importance to Sattva Guna. In verse 14 and 15 of chapter 14, the Bhagavad Gita says, "Those who die with the predominance of Sattva reach the pure abodes, which are free from Rajas and Tamas of the learned. Those who die with the prevalence of the mode of passion are born among people driven by work, while those dying in the mode of ignorance take birth in the animal kingdom." The three gunas cannot be compared among themselves because each has its own use. Sattvaguna provides spiritual upliftment. An increase in Sattvaguna is the goal of spiritual seekers. It shows the correct path and removes hindrances from it, such as temptation and material desires. As the spiritual path is long and difficult, it requires intense determination, persistence, and desire for moksha, which is provided by Rajaguna. The Tamaguna keeps a person grounded and avoids harm as one acts within their limits. A yogi, on the other hand, should strive to live as sattvic as possible. A person with balanced gunas might look like this: engaged in daily yogic practices, devoted to God, eats well and surrounds themselves with good company. Healthy rajas, which means they get pleasure from accomplishments, family life, service, and generosity, and healthy tamas, which is a consistent sleep schedule of rising and sleeping early. One cannot be entirely composed of any of these gunas, as all three are constantly present in everyone and everything. There are people who are unkind, irresponsible, greedy, and lazy. They take wrong turns and endanger themselves and those around them. Their personalities are dominated by Tamaguna. But with proper guidance, rehabilitation, and motivation, they can correct themselves. This is because of the inherent Sattva Guna in them, however minute it may be. Similarly, a highly ethical person should perform her actions carefully. The slightest amount of immorality can degrade into committing great injustices due to a slippery slope. All of this is because Tamaguna is present in everyone, even revered saints. Excess of Rajaguna can lead to unending desires and excessive hard work. This is noticeable in the current generation's trend to work hard today to lead a comfortable life later. This not only takes a toll on health, but also destroys relationships, passions, and hobbies. It has to be balanced with both Sattva and Tamaguna in order to lead a harmonious life. The Bhagavad Gita teaches not only to move towards Sattva Guna, but later to even abandon the three gunas in order to achieve liberation. From a sociological standpoint, the Sat, Raj, and Tamagunas explain social divisions and strive for social justice. The societal division based on gunas can be compared with divisions in Plato's political philosophy. The three divisions of guardians, auxiliaries, and craftsmen are based on the dominant traits of reason, spirit, and appetite respectively. These characteristics are the Greek equivalents of the Indian concepts of sattva, raja, and tamagunas. In the Indian context, the dominance of different gunas led to the VARNA system, which is based on divisions based on occupations that require different gunas to be dominant in a person. In modern frameworks, the divisions are frequently criticized for being discriminatory. But looking at these divisions from a philosophical perspective, they aim at achieving societal harmony, perfection of actions, and collective liberation. It was a novel concept in earlier times of turmoil, infighting, and wars that promoted a cohesive society. Appetites channeled through the artisan class would produce goods and services. Spirit, channeled through the auxiliaries, would provide potential for the defense of the state. Reason, channeled through the guardians, could provide for the guidance of appetite and spirit, in order that the state be ruled wisely in the interests of all. When a question is asked, what is real? It may lead to a multitude of explanations and speculations. Most of these theories are just philosophical concepts and do not correspond to empirical observation, but using the concept of gunas to explain the reality of phenomena around us seems more acceptable. The qualities or attributes are entities through which our senses interact, so a description of reality based on gunas is more cohesive. According to the modern era philosopher Berkeley, when we perceive an apple, it is not the object itself, but a set of qualities such as redness, roundness, sweetness, etc. that our mind cohesively interprets as an apple. In the Nyaya Vaisheshik philosophy, gunas are visualized as a separate category of reality that can be conceived and thought. Gunas and the substance share an inseparable and eternal relationship. Hence, substance or reality cannot be conceived without gunas, just like an apple cannot be perceived without redness or sweetness. The Nyaya Vaisheshik school recognizes 24 qualities that are both material and spiritual in nature. Jainism recognizes gunas as everlasting attributes that exist in substance and all its modifications. Hence, describing reality through gunas makes it rational, consistent, and acceptable. Even the concept of the trinity of gunas in Sankhya is scientific in the sense that it is able to explain cosmological evolution without the use of theological elements. The whole spiritual discipline of yoga can be said to be about transforming tam, balancing raj, and developing sattva. Balanced gunas indicate that the three elements of sat, raj, and tam are in harmony with each other and that none is dominant over the others. In such a condition, the lightness and calmness of sat balance the darkness of tam and the hyperactivity of raj through its promotion of intelligence, understanding, joy, harmony, and awareness. The ultimate goal of spiritual practice is to maximize sattva levels, which can in turn bring greater happiness, clarity, and wisdom into our lives. When sattva is maximized, we experience beneficial changes on all fronts. Our minds can think more clearly and gain greater discernment. Our actions reflect our desire to contribute positively to the world, and we become more in tune with our own internal wants, needs, desires, and hopes. We feel in touch with ourselves in a world where constant stimulation and work can leave us feeling alienated. Balanced gunas help in the growth of personality and character. It leads to physical, mental, and spiritual development. Interpersonal relationships, career, respect, and societal status are all positively impacted. But how do we achieve this balance? If we find ourselves struggling with excess rajas and tamas and the problems associated with them, we need to be aware of the actions that are causing the imbalance and make the appropriate changes. Major areas of intervention can be diet, lifestyle, habits, the workplace, environment, leisure, and interpersonal relationships. One can pursue sattvic aspects in their lives by opposing raja and tamaguna. A sattvic diet consists of freshly cooked vegetables and fresh fruits, as well as a balanced diet that avoids meat and alcohol. Frozen, processed, and reheated foods should be avoided. In order to counter tamaguna, one should lead an active lifestyle and exercise regularly. one should keep company with spiritually minded people, practice compassion, and live in a decluttered and calm environment. Regular meditation and reducing sense consumption by prioritizing desires will help with Rajaguna management. Once the balance is achieved, the Bhagavad Gita speaks of going beyond the three gunas to achieve liberation. The ultimate reality, Brahman, is beyond the three gunas, that is, Trigunatit. Only the realization of identity of Brahman and the self will grant liberation. In the verse 24 to 26 of chapter 14, the Bhagavad Gita describes the one who has left behind the attribution of gunas. Those who are alike in happiness and distress, who are established in the self, who look upon a clod, a stone, and a piece of gold as of equal value, who remain the same amidst pleasant and unpleasant events, who are intelligent, who accept both blame and praise with equanimity, who remain the same in honor and dishonor, who treat both friend and foe alike, and who have abandoned all enterprises, they are said to have risen above the three gunas and come to the level of the Brahman. The idea of the gunas is straightforward, yet it is also a strong and useful instrument for comprehending and managing life. To create harmony in living, one should work towards the three gunas' equilibrium. Sattva guna cultivation and Raj and Tamaguna control are required for this balance. However, one must be prepared to give up even the Sattva guna in order to achieve the ultimate aim of spiritual progress, known as moksha. Even the thief in the opening narrative who had a sattvic character was unable to enter the city since, in a sense, he was a thief. It symbolizes the main idea of the Bhagavad Gita's gunas, which is that in order to obtain spiritual emancipation, one must also transcend the guna of sattva. None of the gunas can fully immerse us in purity and bring us to our Purusha essential nature. At some point, we must transcend them all and only exist as that observing consciousness.